If you'd like to become a personal trainer, or if you've just become one and you feel like you're starting to struggle without knowing why, then let me share the advice I wish I'd known before starting out as a personal trainer. Because yes, when starting a business, including coaching, you're bound to make mistakes because you go by feel, you understand and you learn as you go along. And that's why I'm making this video, so that you, as a coach, can avoid making the same mistakes as every coach you see on Instagram to grow your business. For those who don't know me, I'm Theo, co-founder of the Ekklo app. We help personal trainers with a tool that brings everything together in one place for their clients and for them to manage sports programs, nutrition, follow-ups, payments, and appointments. And everything is also integrated with AI using Claude and ChatGPT. With Ekklo, we help over 7,000 personal trainers worldwide, and that's how I've managed to gather all the feedback and mistakes coaches have made for you so you can avoid them. Before we dive into the heart of the matter, I'll explain the order in which we'll start the video. Part 1. What coaches wish they'd understood at the start of their business. We'll talk about the specific skills you can build as early as possible instead of wasting time elsewhere. And finally, what I specifically recommend you do this week to grow your coaching business. Part 1. What all coaches wish they'd understood from the very beginning. The first thing to understand is that you don't need to be perfect. Most coaches wait too long before starting because they're afraid of not having enough knowledge. Starting out means fearing you're not legitimate, fearing you'll make a mistake with a client, or fearing you're not at the level of a coach with 15 years of experience. But the reality is, the day you'll feel ready is the day you've helped a client with your skills, with your own expertise. What's the goal? It's not about having the best system in the world. What you need to do, however, is be useful to a human being to solve a problem. The second thing is having an Instagram feed that's attractive enough for your specific niche. Because yes, posting stories or post every day with a logo, a graphic style and so on isn't what's going to make it take off either. The goal of Instagram in 2026 is really to sell something real, to sell trust. With everything being automated, from settings to messages and DMs, you need a human touch, and above all, you need to build trust with your clients, or at least your prospects. Insta still remains the best tool for finding your first clients as easily as possible. The third thing, and what I consider the most important when starting your coaching business, is to think long-term right away. Because yes, at the start, when you begin your coaching business, for fear of lacking enthusiasm or missing out on a client, you'll accept anyone. You take every client that comes along, you say yes to everyone and every request, you accept all profiles without filtering. And after 3 or 4 months, you're left with an unmanageable mess between clients wanting to lose weight, others training for marathons, and others wanting to bulk up. That's why you need to lay very clear foundations for yourself and your business with precise positioning, a clear process for supporting clients, and a very simple tracking system that you can easily replicate. Because yes, maybe today you have 2, 5, or even 10 clients at the start of your business, but the day you have 30, 35, or 40, it won't necessarily be the same thing. Part 2, the skills that all coaches would like to build as early as possible. The first skill is knowing how to ask your clients the right questions at the right time. Coaching clients isn't just about sending them generic workout programs, a meal plan, or recipes. It's about deeply understanding the client in front of you, their pains, their fears, their problems, and their desires. Because often I see coaches on Instagram thinking to themselves, I'll make him a great program, he'll be happy. But if you haven't asked the right questions about their lifestyle, their schedule, their failures, their true motivations, then your great program will just end up in the trash. After 6 weeks max, your client won't be motivated anymore because you didn't ask the right questions at the right time. Remember one thing, you're not coaching AIs, you're coaching real humans. So you're going to have emotions coming into play. You need to know the context every time. The second skill, which I think is essential, is knowing how to sell your coaching. You need to know how to structure your coaching like a real system. Because many coaches, and it's normal, even it's very French, are afraid or have trouble talking about money directly. So they'll wait passively for clients to come directly to them, except that's the worst possible strategy. No matter the business, it's up to you to go find clients to make them want to come to you. What you need instead is a simple and repeatable system, namely producing useful content for your target audience, sending private messages without being pushy, having natural conversations with your clients, and above all, knowing how to structure a discovery call with your client so they can make the right decision. And the third skill, which I think is unavoidable when you're a fitness coach, is having a structure with a solid foundation with your clients. What you can set up right now is creating a clean onboarding process when the client arrives with an initial assessment. You can also, if you want, send them assessments every week, every month to get some of their feedback. You can also send them messages via messaging apps or through WhatsApp. In short, you really need something very structured so that when your client arrives, they know what to expect, they won't have any fears, and you'll be there to guide them as they go. That's why we created Ekklo, to create assessments, follow-ups, habits, questionnaires after every session to keep the client as motivated as possible and, above all, to have a very clear structure. Part 3. What I recommend you do right now. Now, let's talk more concretely. The first thing to do is to stop trying to be perfect before you want to launch. Start this week by coaching 3 or 4 clients, even for free. It doesn't matter. The goal is to get as much experience as possible, because by taking concrete actions with a real human, by understanding what you're doing, you'll learn 10 times faster than thinking for 1, 2, 3 weeks or 6 months about the actions you can take or could take. And that's why all entrepreneurs will tell you to launch as quickly as possible, because that's how you learn as you go. The second thing to do is to set a clear framework for yourself before prospecting your first clients. Before starting all that, you need to ask yourself several questions. You need to know exactly who you want to help, how you want to work with them on a daily basis, and how much time per week you want to devote to it. Because if you don't lay the foundations right now, before you start having your first 5 clients, you'll end up spending your weekends finishing at midnight or 1 a.m. on programs on client follow-ups, and you won't understand why coaches who have 25 or 35 clients spend less time than you do with 3 or 4 clients. So I'm telling you, structure yourself right now with your niche and what you really want to do as you go along. It'll be super important for the future. And the third thing, I think the most important element, is not to stay all alone in coaching. We're lucky in our generation to have a maximum of value on the internet, on YouTube, on Instagram. So document yourself as you go, find some training that's free with free videos. The goal is really to continually learn how to be better afterwards. We have plenty of YouTube videos that are interesting for coaching, and besides that, for the coaching business already on our YouTube channel. We make quite a few videos to help you grind a bit on the business side of things. But in any case, even elsewhere on Instagram, on YouTube, on Google, on ChatGPT, whatever, help yourselves, create communities, talk to other coaches. The goal is really to learn as much as possible from other coaches' mistakes so that you precisely don't make them. It's precious advice that every entrepreneur should follow at the start of their activity. So there you go. You now know the things to know before launching as a sports coach, the skills to have and to create, and the system to put in place starting this week. So if you too want to structure your coaching activity and save time for your next clients, you have a 14-day free trial starting now on Ekklo to create your sports and nutrition programs, follow-ups, assessments, and so on. We even recently integrated ChatGPT and Claude. We're the first application on the global market to have implemented it. So you can do everything from your Claude or from your ChatGPT. If you liked the video, you can leave a little like, a comment, and subscribe, and tell me in the comments which video you'd like us to tackle together. I'll remind you that we make a video every week on the YouTube channel to help you develop your sports coaching business online, in person, or at home. It doesn't matter. Don't hesitate to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye!